We are broadcasting from just outside the Clayton County Courthouse in St. Louis, Missouri, where on Monday a grand jury voted not to indict Officer Darren Wilson for the killing of the unarmed African-American teenager Michael Brown. After 3 months of deliberation that included testimony from Wilson himself, the jury of 9 whites and 3 blacks decided that Wilson should not be tried for any of the criminal charges he faced. Not first-degree murder, not second-degree murder, not voluntary or involuntary manslaughter. Many are questioning the timing of the release of the grand jury decision, which came late at night instead of in broad daylight. Soon after the grand jury decision was read, police fired tear gas at protesters in Ferguson. The grand jury decision set off outrage in communities not only throughout St. Louis, but across the country, who see Brown's killing as part of a wide-scale pattern of police mistreatment of people of color. Here in Ferguson, at least a dozen stores were broken into and burned. A number of businesses burned for hours before firefighters arrived. Sporadic gunfire was heard throughout the night in the Ferguson streets. Police arrested at least 61 people. A large crowd gathered outside the Ferguson Police Department as the grand jury's decision was announced. The crowd included Michael Brown's mother, Leslie McSpadden, who broke into tears after hearing Wilson would walk free. In a statement, the Brown family said, quote, "We are profoundly disappointed that the killer of our child will not face the consequence of his actions." The statement continues, "While we understand that many others share our pain, we ask that you channel your frustration in ways that will make a positive change." The family has asked for support of the Michael Brown law, which would ensure police officers wear body cameras. St. Louis County Prosecutor Bob McCullough announced the grand jury's decision here at the Clayton County Courthouse on Monday night. McCullough said jurors had found, quote, "that no probable cause exists to charge Officer Wilson with any crime."
The duty of the grand jury is to separate fact from fiction. After a full and impartial and critical examination of all the evidence in the law and decide if that evidence supported the filing of any criminal charges against Darren Wilson. They accepted and completed this monumental responsibility in a conscientious and expeditious manner. It is important to note here and say again that they are the only people who have heard and examined every witness and every piece of evidence. They discussed and debated the evidence among themselves before arriving at their collective decision. After their exhaustive review of the evidence, the grand jury deliberated over 2 days, making their final decision. They determined that no probable cause exists to file any charge against Officer Wilson and returned a no true bill on each of the 5 indictments.
Bob McCullough, the prosecutor himself, faced public scrutiny throughout the grand jury investigation, with calls for him to resign over allegations of a pro-police bias and questions raised about an unusual grand jury process that resembled a trial.
My name is Katrina Redmond, and I'm very disturbed with the police presence out here. People were peacefully protesting. People got maced and tear gassed. This is ridiculous. Like, look at all these officers for what reason?
Black people was gonna calm us down?
This is ridiculous to me. And this is unfortunately what my city has turned into.
Can you talk about this, the grand jury decision not to indict Officer Wilson?
Obviously, that's a problem. It's a reason that everybody has a problem with the fact that Officer Wilson was not indicted. I mean, he killed an unarmed black teenager. There's no excuse for that. I mean, it was a man that was killed, and it's somebody that walked away from it. And this is the reason that we all out here, because nobody gets answers. Because nobody has had an answer since this has all happened. That's a problem for us. And we want answers, essentially. Because it seems like the only way you can get away with murder is if you got a badge, which is unfortunate.
What will you be doing beyond tonight?
Oh, I'm gonna continue to follow up and protest and make sure our voices are heard. Just because, you know, he wasn't indicted doesn't mean that the people of Ferguson or Florissant or Hazelwood or the surrounding areas are gonna rest. Like, if we have to come out here every single night and protest and make it be known that this is a problem for our city with the black community, we will. Like, I have no problem coming out here every single night to protest.
How do you think things could change where you'd feel some hope?
I mean, really, I feel like all they had to do was indict him and things could have been peaceful. Things have been peaceful up to the point where they said that they don't care and he didn't do anything wrong. So all they have to do is admit that they were wrong and right there by arresting him, and things will calm down at least a little bit until they try to tell us he's innocent again.
At the end of the day, black lives don't matter to them. At the end of the day. At the end of the day, black lives don't matter to these cops, man. At the end of the day. We be locked up more than everybody in this our own community. You know what I'm saying? Get charged real quick, everything. We getting false things put on us and everything, man. These cops is grimy, man. Everybody on this police force need to get fired, including the captains, all the way down to whoever. Everybody got to get fired, man. Rubber bullets onto women and children. Peaceful protest. No, they don't care about no black lives. They know that. Come on now. Black lives don't matter. Let's be 100. Black lives don't matter.
That's the truth.
Black lives don't matter. I ain't never heard of sugarcoat nothing, man. Black lives don't matter, y'all.
Nobody but black people, so we gonna show y'all how we feel. Yeah. And that's what it is.
Come on, it is what it is. Truck down the street, left there for 4 hours. Trash get picked up quicker than that. Come on now. Come on now. That's disrespectful. That's disrespect.
And you say, what do you say? We gonna shake the heavens. We gonna
Come
shake
on,
the
man.
heavens.
We gonna shake the heavens. If we don't get it, shut it down.
Disrespectful from the jump.
Are you going to be were you at protesting from August 9th?
Oh, of course. I straight seen people get shot with rubber bullets. I just didn't get shot. You feel me? I'm blessed.
We've been tear gassed.
Been all that. Black lives don't matter to
maced
these
and
people.
everything. We've been chased.
Come on.
People
man.
have been beaten. That's what happened the first day. That's how the rioting started the first day. A little boy got bit by a dog, and it just cracked off since then.
On citizens. They firing on to their own citizens. Matter of fact, they firing on to their so-called citizens. That's how they look at us. They so-called citizens.
Look how they look. $400,000. $400,000 for Darren Wilson. For what? What is he gonna do with $400,000 now? He just got a paycheck for killing somebody. That's a nice paycheck.
That man
For killing somebody.
A medal for killing a kid.
Yeah.
A medal.
For killing the kid.
Do you think it's possible the federal government will bring civil rights charges against? McCullough bristled when a reporter asked what message the grand jury's decision had sent.
Mr. McCullough, you're somebody who's had his record questioned by many members of the community with cases that have happened in the past. So, I mean, how do you feel making this, announcing this decision, and what message do you think it sends to the community that says that they have had numerous members of that community, young, predominantly black males, killed by police with impunity? What kind of message do you think this decision says to them?
Well, a much better message than what you're sending, that young men being killed with impunity. They're not being killed with impunity. We look at every case that comes through, and whether they're young black men or young white men.
I think people looking at this from around the country are going to be struck by the fact that there is not a single law in the state of Missouri that protects and values the life of this young man who unquestionably was shot and killed dead. There's no dispute about that by the police officer. What do you say to people who wonder, is there something wrong with the laws here that allows this to happen, that after this happens says we just move on, essentially, and that this is justice? Is this really justice? Or is there something wrong with the laws in the state that would say that this is okay?
It's another question that really I don't have an answer to that question, that what's wrong with the law. There are no laws to protect this. Every law out there is to protect the safety of every individual, regardless of their age and regardless of their race. And so if those laws are not working, then we need to work to change them.
Shortly after the grand jury's decision was announced, President Obama spoke in a nationally televised address and urged protesters to stay peaceful and police to exercise restraint.
We need to recognize that this is not just an issue for Ferguson. This is an issue for America. We have made enormous progress in race relations over the course of the past several decades. I have witnessed that in my own life, and to deny that progress, I think, is to deny America's capacity for change. But what is also true is that there are still problems, and communities of color aren't just making these problems up.
There you've got the voices of officialdom. Now for the voices from the streets. Democracy Now! Was on the ground in Ferguson Monday night as protesters were met by walls of police officers, many in riot gear and heavily armed. The burning and property damage was worst on West Florissant, a strip of largely black-run businesses. The National Guard, heavily touted by the governor, we didn't see them there. We did see, though, a heavy police presence just blocks away on South Florissant, home to the Ferguson Police Department headquarters. That's where we began. We're here on South Florissant. Down the road are fires. Cars are on fire. We're following a group of protesters. Right now, the police and riot gear, we've also seen state troopers are moving in. So we're going to follow the protesters who are walking down the street.
Move back! Move back! Move back!
Here's clergy who are talking to the police. They're just shouting, move back.
Move back!
Militarized enforcement.
Move back! Move back! Move back! Move back!
They have a right to assemble. Do not hurt the young people.
Please.
Get out of the street!
We're out of the street, but where do we go? Where do we go?
We were trying to, we were there, they told them to move, and we were told that we could peacefully assemble here, and we did. And now they're here, and Officer Windling is still being aggressive. They're not bothering anyone. Can they stand here? They have a right. We were told that under the rules of engagement that they could peacefully assemble. They are here. They are here. Okay, we have a right to peacefully assemble.
This is breaking the law.
But the street is blocked off, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
It's like, ain't it like 100-something days, y'all?
I'm Reverend Waltrina Middleton with the United Church of Christ National Youth Office. And I'm here to keep the peace, but also mostly to support and stand with these young people who have a right to peacefully assemble and to express themselves. And I feel like they have a right, it's a natural reaction to be angry and to be heard in response to such suffering and pain. And for so long, they've been told to be quiet, to be silent, and just to conform, and now they have an opportunity to express themselves. And for many of us, we're not used to hearing these young people articulate themselves in this way, but this is their street, this is their home, they have a right to be here, and they have a right to say, you know what, one of our brothers was murdered and killed, and we are responding to that pain. And I think sometimes in this society, we're not used, especially to hearing young people of color speak so firmly and strongly about their rights.
What's your response to the grand jury decision not to indict Officer Wilson?
I'm hurt by it. I wonder myself, I'm looking forward to seeing what evidence was presented to them, to see if they had an opportunity to make a fair and balanced decision. It's hard to really say because we don't know what was put before them, but I do think that it's important that we take a look at this system and see if it's actually working. Is justice having an opportunity to prevail? Is democracy actually taking place? Because when you have a young person who dies, and you know, with all the evidence that we've been presented to show that he was unarmed and not a danger or a threat, why is it that they chose not to take this case to trial or to have an indictment? It's troubling to know that what message is being sent out here is to these young people is that their lives don't matter. They have the position of, I have nothing to lose because I could just die on the street walking home. So,
can you describe the police to me who are out here tonight?
I do feel as if that the demeanor is quite aggressive. I think that we were told that the young people have a right to peacefully assemble. We were told that they have a right to come here and express themselves, and everything that they were promised is being denied. Everything that they've asked them to do, they've complied. They said to move back, they moved back. They said move to the sidewalk, they moved to the sidewalk. And basically they're trying to push them out and once again silence them. And when you come to young people who are not armed, just dressed in their winter clothes with militarized weapons and tear gas and all of this gear and guns and whatnot, it's intimidating, it's aggressive. And how do you expect people to respond, especially after an announcement like that?
As we walk back behind the police cars and the riot police, there are several buses that say Missouri Department of Corrections waiting to be filled.
My name is Zachariah Williams. I'm 19. We're standing in front of the corner coffee house, and it's broken into, as you can see, glass everywhere. They did damage to everything. They broke in the beauty supply, they broke in the urns, they broke in the T-Mobiles, they burned down the Walgreens, the fish place on the corner, they burned down the Little Caesars.
And who's
they broke into the bank. Police in that bank, because they broke into that one too.
And who's they?
Just people that's out here riding.
How do you feel about the grand jury decision not to indict Officer Wilson?
That's sad to see.
Messed up, for real.
That's sad to see. Like, they family going through that, and they not showing no type of mercy. They tried to charge him with 5 charges, and they ain't indict him with neither one of them.
Why do you think that is?
People protect their own.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. People will protect their own.
Have you ever been bothered by the police?
Yes.
Have you ever been arrested?
Yes.
And what happened then?
Well, one time I got arrested. I got punched in my mouth. And once
By?
Officer Dwight, Sergeant Dwight. Yeah. And,
Were you able to bring charges against him?
No.
That's madness.